Alrighty then, this one is going to be for Peter's Guide, this guy right here, Peter's Guide. He sent me a message right up here, Peter's Guide, and we're talking about this rear flap right here, and he's telling me that it's set to trim down like he's saying in this video, and I can actually prove it's not even here. This one's not even hard. All right, so this is a picture of the plane that Trevor used before he bought it. And we can clearly see back here, we got this black line right here, which is the flapper. This is the rear trim control. It's elevator trim control. It controls your nose pitch. So we can clearly see that there's a black line right here. And you can see how thick this black line is. Now, if it was set to pitch nose down, that flap would be down at an angle like this. See, this is pitched for normal flight right here. And if it was pitched down, those would be tilted down and you would be able to see them more in this angle. All right, so let's go to the images of Trevor Jacobs Plane in flight right here. We can clearly see right here, that this is where that rear flap should be. But notice how thin it is. It is not as thick as it is here. Now this image is even further away than this image. So if one of them should be thicker, this image should be thicker than this image because this image is taking that picture of it from further away. So clearly this is just the control arm which the flap mounts on without the flap actually on it. Now, to further nail the coffin shut and to close this case, we actually get another angle on it. All right, now remember, if it was adjusted for pitch down or for nose down, those flaps would be at an angle where the front of them would be higher than the back of them. So we should be able to see it as a thicker thing here instead of thin like this. All right, now here's the other angle. We are seeing this more from below than we are from the side like we should. So if there was the actual flap on here, we should be able to see that flap and not just a thin line. Remember how thick it looks here further away than it looks here up close. Now also, if it was pitched for nose down, we should see those angled, pitched for nose down. If this still has the flap on it, it is pitched for vertical flight or for horizontal flight and not pitched nose down. But if it's like I say and that flap is missing, then it's not pitched any direction, that's just a rod. I'm saying this is just a rod because we don't see the thickness to it like we would see here. You can clearly see this has the flap on it. You can clearly see this is just a rod. We got two different angles of just a rod, no flap. You don't even see the line or whatever where it would be. Like here, you can see that. There is clearly a difference. This has clearly got the flap on it. That's why it's so thick. This clearly does not have the flap on it. That's why it's so thin. Thick, thin, thick, thin, thick, thin. There's no flap on it. He has no rear trim control. He has no elevator trim control. So he can't go nose down. He can't pitch it nose down. He has no pitch control, whatever. No pitch trim control. Alrighty then, hopefully that proves my point that there is no pitch trim control on there. This is missing the flaps, clear as day. You can see the flap, you can't see the flap. See the flap, can't see the flap. Clear as day. All right, we're done with this? Okay, good. He's missing his rear elevator trim control.